Hello, and thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, I'm out for a couple of nights, 3 days, and I tend to travel. The thing is, I tend to travel really light, you know, 10 kilogram or just over 10 kilograms today. This small military backpack, it's a haversack really, and you know, I travel with minimal gear, but what makes it sort of extra tricky is it's natural fibres, nigh on 100%, so I'm very limited in what I can choose, and it tends to be rather heavy. I tend to choose military because military is cheap, obviously, ex-military, military surplus, but it's also very robust, and you know, the kind of rough camping you're doing when you're with minimal gear, I think, you know, especially beside an open fire, I think that kind of robustness really pays off. I don't know if you can see that. I'm heading down to a road now, so just keep my wits about me. That was Red Kite. Yeah, hello. Graveyard with connections to our warrior friends abroad, I guess. Multinational flag there. And the tombs of people and no doubt perhaps airmen. And look at that. Sometimes man's architecture is nearly half as good as nature's. As I'm banging up this hill, I can't help thinking of some of the other guys and girls I've watched on YouTube. I never expected to be able to see the English Channel from up here. Nice. Yeah, really nice. Back to the woods. This is the East German Flash Palatka. It's, you know, well, not identical, but similar to the Russian version of it. And of course, the Russian was the first version. I believe that Russian military have using this kind of military cape for, you know, possibly a few hundred years. So this is a later sort of copy from the East German National Army. I think sort of, I don't know, around about 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's a different kind of cotton. It's a lightweight cotton. That's why I've gone for it. The shoulders, when you're wearing it as a cape, the shoulders aren't double lined, so there's probably disadvantages to that with regards to water ingression, but it certainly, again, keeps the weight of it down. So yeah, I've opted for this not super lightweight setup. As super lightweight as you can get for cotton canvas, you know, and natural fibres, which combines the lean-to configuration with the ground sheet as well. Yeah, and it seems to work for me. I'm quite small, and these military capes are all about 6 foot square, so just about does the job. Yeah, and quick and easy to set up using a few natural fibre lines, a few sticks for pegs, and yeah, cotton cordage, and away you go. Let me just show you the neighbour we have. A fantastic birch polypore, I think they call this fungus. You know, classic sort of fungi for a dead birch tree. of which we have some there, and there's so much deadfall around here that you know, I'll start collecting timber. Just a case of trying to pick a few dry pieces, because the setup that I use is very limited in the way of bedding, you know, a sheepskin rug, so relying on a small fire to keep warm during the night. Because I'm out for a bit longer than normal, I've got 3 problems to consider really. Having enough food, you know, I've got to do 2 dinners and some daytime snacks. The other thing is water, of course. Water's always a problem. You know, I'm carrying a minimal amount of kit, just a small military haversack. I put a litre of water in that, and I've got a water bottle as well, which is about 850 ml, so a bit less than 2 litres. You know, it's not going to do you more than a day, especially when you're hiking. You really need more than that. So the other thing is power, electrical power. I've got my power bank, but I'm not sure how many charges it will give to the phone. So I've got a couple of ideas that will see me through the time. And one of them is I can take, tomorrow when I'm hiking around, I can take about half a mile detour off the area that I wanted to go to. And I know that there's a water trough for livestock, which actually has a mains tap on it. And I know that that mains water is potable because in the summertime there's like a pop-up campsite, and it's actually marked as drinking water, that tap. So I'm hopeful that I could borrow a couple of litres from that if it's still operable, because at winter time the farmer sensibly would shut down the supply of water because of the chance of frost damaging the pipework or the actual tap itself. So there's a chance that that tap won't be working, but I'm hopeful that it might be, and that will give me one option. The other option is tomorrow, with regards to lunch tomorrow, I'm going to head to a pub. I know it's weak, don't judge me, so I can rehydrate on the liquids that they might offer, and obviously have a pub lunch as well, so that'll booster up food. That's one less meal I've got to carry. I've got to pack in and pack around the hills with me, but it also might help with the power option as well. I'm hopeful they might have a power socket that if I'm going to buy a lunch off them, they might let me plug in and at least give maybe an hour's charge to the power bank, and it might just see me through on the 3rd day to keep filming. So those are the little plans I've got to hopefully manage to keep going for the period of time that I'm going to be out. So yeah. Just trying to keep everything to the minimum, so I'm kind of having to lean on civilization a little bit, or certainly lean on the pub a little bit. Well, I'm going to start to prep up dinner before it gets too dark. I've gone for the usual vegetable stew. I know it's my default meal, but to be honest, I'll be somewhat relieved to get rid of some of the fresh vegetables. You know, I'm relying on the carbohydrates of the vegetable stew, the carrots and the potatoes. Been lugging them around all day, and it'd be nice to get them out of my pack. And then tomorrow's something more in the way of dried food. It's I'm going to do a fried rice, so the rice and the vegetables for that are dried. I've you know, only got a couple of fresh ingredients, so it makes for tomorrow should be a very slightly lighter pack.
That was a little bit colder than I expected last night. It was predicted a reasonably warm night, albeit a bit windy, and the wind does make it feel colder, but the skies stayed absolutely clear for most of the night. Lovely bright stars you could see just above the tops of the tree lines there, and so I think the temperature probably dipped a little bit more than they expected. Another beautiful church. Potential water supply, but I'm going to press on to the farm and the livestock trough. Hope for the best.
sweating bullets again, and the pub seems miles away. Here we are. Let's see if they're working or not. This point is at a crossroads where 4 public footpaths meet, so I'm rather hopeful that the farmer doesn't mind hikers, you know, just topping up their water as they go through. That little village down there, that's the pub. Praise be to the wood spirits. Well, that was a very nice lunch, and all needs are met, apart from a hot shower, of course. That would have been nice, but they didn't serve that, just pints of bitter, so I opted for that instead. So, back up another massive hill, back into the forest. Yeah. All the sweat from this morning has just dried out in the pub, and now I'm banging up another hill. Oh boy. You don't have to go far, do you? Nice. Is it the beer, or has England just got more beautiful? Nah, it's not the beer. A view of the forest. I looked at the map a couple of weeks ago actually, and just made a very, very rough guesstimate, and it's well over 1,500 acres, but there's bits that sort of add on to it as well, and indentations, so it was a guess, but yeah. If I had a pint for every hill I'd been up. I tried to transport a few fresh vegetables through all the time that I've been hiking, hoping that they wouldn't get too battered about. So I packed out some hard white cabbage in this grease-proof paper bag, which I can burn. I know it's not recycling it, but it's better than single-use plastic. And I'm hoping that this will give us some sort of fresh vegetables after a few days in the pack. Just going to slice this through and we'll fry it down with the onions. Yeah, the fresh vegetables have survived the trip reasonably well. Not sure another day in the haversack would do them much good. But at least the weather's cold at this time of year, so helps to keep a certain freshness. If it was a summer's day, I'm sure they would be not just bruised but wilting as well. This rice, dried peas, mushrooms and soya chunks. Cover it with the water from the livestock trough. With my head torch on, I can see that the rice is cooked and the vegetables have rehydrated. So, see if I can turn it up. I've got to tip them out into the precarious tiny plate. I put all the chopped vegetables in the vegetable bag, so they're all ready to go back in the pot. The usual coconut oil in there. Don't want to mess it up too much. Chuck the vegetables in there. I chopped up earlier, just threw them in the veg bag. I'll try and soften them down to reduce the volume. I don't know if you can see this. I'm working by head torch, running a little bit late, and just putting the garlic in, chopping it pretty chunky. It's hot. Just going to whack some seasoning oil into the vegetables there. I've got some soy sauce to go on when the rice goes in as well. A bit more, I think. Got the delicate task of putting the rice in with these vegetables now. Certainly cooked down anyway. Put some soy sauce in and we'll just bring it up to heat again. You know, this is really nice. I'm bringing along that hard cabbage
for extra fresh vegetables. It was a good idea, you know. It took a bit of a bouncing around in the haversack, but came out smiling. But there's just way too much here, way too much dinner. Last night wasn't as cold as the night before. There was hardly any wind, and when you've got a sort of primitive setup like this, the wind can make a difference. You know, it can whip around it any which way. Yeah, but hardly any wind last night, so it didn't feel as cold. So probably a better night's sleep. Still keeping the fire going every so often, and that's, you know, the cold does wake you up, and that's when it's time to get the fire going again. Yeah, not too bad. Today is sadly the last day of the tiny adventure, and I've got to head home, but I'd like to take you and show you one more thing if I can before we go. So there'll be a bit of a hike this morning as well, I'm afraid. Yeah, so in a minute I'm gonna break camp and head out of these woods, onwards, as they say. Wet natural fibre lines get quite stiff and slightly swollen. They actually tend sometimes to shorten in length as well.
This is one ancient logging track. When was the last time that was used? Sad. Whew. Makes you glad when you're wearing gaiters. Oh, I think it's this one. Welcome to a UK national park. What's it all about, eh? Oil, I suppose. Sadly, I've got to hike out now. I've really enjoyed my few days in the English countryside, and if anyone ever follows this video, I hope it gives a few ideas and perhaps even a little bit of inspiration. Yeah.